This conference will now be recorded.
Recording 15. Sir. Rachel. So these are some of the most beautiful mushrooms. Okay. 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 So we'll come to our class. Today's class is actually mycotoxicosis. I hope all of you have heard that there might be some poisonous mushrooms. Yes, that is totally different. That is mycetismus. Okay. But mycotoxicosis is something which you eat in your food and fungus has contaminated it, releasing its toxins. Okay. So today we'll know the difference between mycotoxicosis and mycetismus. What are they? What are the different types of toxins that can be existing in nature? So these are mushrooms. Okay. I hope everybody likes mushrooms. You can see preparations of mushrooms. Edible mushrooms is quite good. So there are 2 points actually. One is mycotoxicosis, one is mycetismus. Okay. Mycotoxicosis is toxins which are released by a fungus like aspergillus, like fusarium, like many others. So those are toxins which may grow in your food. Like suppose you are eating some peanuts. Yes, you might have seen some peanuts. If you leave them somewhere in a warm or humid place, they'll have a greenish growth. And if you eat that, you may become sick. Okay. So that is mycotoxicosis. Whereas mycetismus is if you actually eat the fungus. That is like you eat some mushrooms which are poisonous. Okay. So that is mycetismus. Okay. We'll go to one by one, little by little. Okay. So mycotoxicosis is defined as an illness of man or animal due to ingestion of preformed substances which are produced by the action of certain molds or filamentous fungi on particular foodstuff. Okay. So you'll actually take the foodstuff, but the toxin has contaminated that particular thing, the toxin which has been released by the fungus. Okay. So mycetismus is totally different. It is also known as muscarism or mycetism. So this is a clinical entity which is produced by ingestion of toxin along with the fungus. That is, dramatic symptoms of food poisoning can be seen after mushroom ingestion due to consumption of fleshy fungi, which is mycophagy, which is known as mycophagy. And clinical manifestations may range from minor GI disturbances to hallucinations, to delirium, abdominal cramps, or even fatal consequences. So what are the important clinical entities of mycetismus? So here you can see these are the poisonous mushrooms. So muscarine poisoning or epidemic acid or muscimol or muscazole. These are different substances which can be present in poisonous mushrooms, and cyclopeptides, these can be present in poisonous mushrooms. Okay. Now basically our class is mycotoxicosis, so that is why we'll discuss about mycotoxins. So mycotoxins are low molecular weight secondary metabolites of fungi, and these metabolites constitute a toxigenically and chemically heterogeneous assemblage that can be grouped together only because the members can cause disease and death in human beings and other vertebrates. So these are an important chronic dietary risk factor, and they occur frequently in areas naturally with hot and humid climate, which is favorable for growth of molds, also found in temperate zones. So the disease produced by mycotoxicosis are known as mycotoxicosis. Okay. So an outbreak of aflatoxicosis was reported in 1974 in the adjoining districts of Gujarat and Rajasthan. Stachybotryosis killed thousands of horses in 1930s in USSR, and in 1960 aflatoxicosis killed many Turks in the UK. And then in 1960 to 71, US military, they spread, this is a part of bioterrorism, they spread millions of liters of toxic herbicides to destroy the vegetation used by liberation forces for cover and food. So this also can be there. Okay. So mycotoxins are basically secondary metabolites which are produced by foodborne filamentous fungi, and they vary in the severity. That is, they may be carcinogens or they may be simply allergens, and they may be non-volatile or with low molecular weight. Some of them are lethal and cause identifiable diseases. They weaken the immune system without producing symptoms. The temperature at which they are produced varies. It may be 4 to 32 degrees and a moisture of about 22 to 23% in grain, and aeration of about 1 to 2% of oxygen, with a relative humidity of around more than equal to 70%, and depends on what type of fungus is growing on what type of substance. Okay, so these are the different factors on which the mycotoxins depend on. So the toxicity is of 4 types. One is acute, one is chronic, one is mutagenic, one is teratogenic. Acute means there is rapid onset from a single exposure. Simply you have eaten some sort of food which has been contaminated by a fungus. So that is a rapid onset of symptoms. And there may be delayed onset from multiple long-term exposures. That is a chronic mycotoxicosis. Mutagenic can cause damage to DNA, and teratogenic can cause birth defects. So they can cause respiratory problems, reproductive problems, liver, kidney or other organ damage, cancer, and even death. So the food which are most susceptible to fungus producing mycotoxins can be corn, wheat, oats, barley, sorghum, cottonseed, peanut meal, rye, and bread. So these are the different things on which these fungi can grow. So I think many of you might have seen growing on peanuts. So some of the peanuts will become greenish. So you may not think much about it. You eat, or maize. So it will become a little bit of greenish color and you may eat it. So then you can have mycotoxicosis. Okay. What are the most significant fungi which cause mycotoxicosis? They belong to basically 3 genera. One is Aspergillus, one is Fusarium, one is Penicillium. What is Aspergillus? You might remember from Aspergillum. Okay, it is Aspergillus. So Aspergillum is something which priests used to use to sprinkle holy water. So that is why you can see there is some sort of the conidia will be there on top. Yes, on top of the conidiophore. Fusarium has board-shaped conidia, and Penicillium. So Penicillium is like a broom shape. So like a broom it will be there. The conidia will be there, and you can see the conidiophores will be like brooms, and then on top of that the conidia will be there. So that is Penicillium. So what are the medically significant mycotoxins? Some of the important ones you have to remember. Some are aflatoxins, some are fumonisin, some are trichothecenes, ochratoxins, cyclopyrazonic acid, zearalenone, and patulins. Okay. Some of the important ones you have to remember. One is aflatoxin, fumonisin, trichothecene, like that. These are important. Okay. So what are the different species which produce these toxins? What is the source of exposure and the conditions which are caused by the mycotoxins? So aflatoxins are produced by Aspergillus flavus, Parasiticus, Nomium, and Puberilum. So their source of exposure is nuts and maize, and the cause Ray's syndrome or aflatoxicosis can be caused Fumonigens, so from the name itself you can guess that it is caused by Fusarium. So Fusarium moniliforme, which grows on maize, and it can cause a number of conditions. Trichothecens, Fusarium graminearium, and sporotrichoids. So it also grows on human maize and sorghum. So ochratoxins, which are caused by Aspergillus niger and Aspergillus ocratius. So cereals, coffee, beans, and bread. So they can cause nephropathies. Cyclopasonic acid is caused by Aspergillus different species. So groundnut, corn, meat. So they can be co-contaminants, or Kodua poisoning can be caused. So Kodua poisoning, will come to it. So zearalenons can be caused by Fusarium graminearium, and wheat, maize, and barley, sorghum, these can be there. So genital disorders in different animals can be caused. Patulins, and they are thought to be antiviral antibiotics, but actually they are some sort of mycotoxins. Okay. So the food which is stored for longer periods, they give fungi a greater opportunity to contaminate it. So this is a no-brainer. So naturally, if you keep some food for a long time, so naturally fungus can grow on it. So it can be seen as a significant cause of death in developed countries. So based on the data, it was seen that a number of deaths caused by liver cancer was caused by aflatoxins in Indonesia. So acute fatalities have been reported in India caused by aflatoxin poisoning due to unseasonal rains. So there are different factors which affect mycotoxin production, like genetics, environmental and nutritional factors, depending on the susceptibility of the crop, the geographic and seasonal factors, as well as cultivation, harvesting, storage, transportation. So mycotoxins are found worldwide. In the field, weather conditions, plant stress, invertebrate factors, variations within plant and animal species, so microbial competition, so all of them significantly affect mycotoxin production. So what about aflatoxins? So aflatoxins were discovered as a cause of a disease known as turkey X disease, because they didn't know what the disease was in those turkeys. So that is why they named it as turkey X disease during the 1960s in England. It caused a death of many birds and ruined the turkey industry, and they are commonly produced by Aspergillus flavus. They are B1 and B2. Two common aflatoxins are B1 and B2, and Aspergillus parasiticus produces the toxins G1 and G2, and they are designated as B and G based on their metabolites, which exhibit blue or green color fluorescence under ultraviolet light or rays. Okay. So blue or green color, so that is why B and G. So different color of metabolites are produced by these toxins. So B1 is the most important biologically active mycotoxin because of its common occurrence in few food items and is highly toxigenic and carcinogenic. So here you can see aflatoxin tainted products. You can see the greenish color growth of the fungus. So here you can see this is on peanuts, this is on maize. So here you can see different growth of the fungus on the food products. So poisoning that results from ingesting aflatoxins, there are two forms. One is acute severe intoxication, which results in severe liver damage and subsequent illness or death, and chronic subsymptomatic aflatoxicosis, like signs and symptoms are lethargy, anorexia, muscle weakness, followed by spasm. There is another syndrome known as Ray's syndrome. This Ray's syndrome you might have come across in many other diseases also. So this is a side effect of many other diseases also. Suppose you start aspirin or something else in a viral disease, so Ray's syndrome can occur also. Ray's syndrome is a acute aflatoxicosis in which the patient presents with signs and symptoms of encephalopathy and fatty degeneration of the viscera. This is an endemic disease in children in developing countries. Okay. So here you can see fatty degeneration of the liver. So fatty degeneration of the liver occurs. So how to prevent? So detoxification. So there is HSCAS. This is one aluminosilicate. This product can absorb aflatoxins, and supportive treatment you can give by vitamin E and selenium. And if you want to prevent, you have to give mold inhibitors or treatment of grain with anhydrous ammonia for 10 to 14 days. Okay, so this is how you have to prevent. And how to detect? One test is there known as the black light test. So this is a BYG fluorescence, ELISA, and chromatography, HPLC, that is high performance liquid chromatography. and rapid immunochromatographic method. Here you can see rapid immunochromatographic method. So that is how you can detect the aflatoxins. So if you put a black light, a type of light is there known as black light. If you put that, you can see that the aflatoxin growing on corn can be detected very easily. Okay. So then we come to another type of toxin known as fumonisins. From its name, it can be known that it is produced by fusarium. These are secondary metabolites which are produced by various species of fusarium. These are toxic and carcinogenic, and they are common contaminants of maize, corn, and their products. They cause fatal illness in animals like equine leukoencephalomalacia and porcine pulmonary edema, like that. In pigs and horses, like that, different animals can be affected by fumonisins. So this toxicity is there by blocking ceramide synthetase, which converts sphingosine and acetyl coenzyme A to ceramide. And an outbreak has been reported in poultry due to consumption of fumonisin contaminated feed containing rain damaged maize. So fumonisins are toxigenic and carcinogenic, and these are common contaminants of maize and maize-based animal feeds throughout the world. And these are the mycotoxin is known as fumonisin B. FB1 to FB4, 4 types of toxins are there. They may cause fatal illness in some animals and are suspected to be human esophageal carcinogens. And high performance liquid chromatography with fluorescence detection is a widely used method to detect them. Ochratoxins are also naturally occurring mycotoxins and are produced by various species of Aspergillus and Penicillium. These are originally isolated from Aspergillus ochraceus, hence they are named as ochratoxins. So out of many ochratoxins, ochratoxin A is medically significant, and the natural occurrence of these toxins in grains and other plant products has been seen. So human exposure to ochratoxin, how does it happen? So directly by contaminated plant food, indirectly by animal tissues exposed with contaminated materials. Fatal renal disease known as endemic nephropathy and urinary tract tumors can be produced by ochratoxins. Another type of mycotoxins are trichotheceans. These are produced by fusarium species. The most significant effect of these toxins is the depression of the immune system in both the human as well as animals. So yellow rain, one rain was seen in Laos with, it was actually biological warfare. So these were implicated, the trichotheceans were implicated at that time. Okay. Then there was cyclopyrazonic acid, which is produced by the genus Aspergillus and Penicillium, which occurs naturally in agricultural products such as groundnut and corn. These are co-contaminants with aflatoxins, and clinical symptoms are loss of weight, weakness, vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, convulsions, and death. And they cause symptoms of Kodua poisoning. We'll come to Kodua poisoning. So Kodo millet is a type of millet seed which is used as a staple food in some places. So cattle and man, there's a toxic syndrome in cattle and man, which is encountered in areas where Kodo millet seed is consumed by staple food by poor people in several regions of India. And eating of this Kodo grain results in giddiness and sleeping disorders, sleepiness and tremors, which recovers after 1 to 3 days. Then there are zearalenons, which are produced by fusarium species. They are found in a variety of infected cereals like maize, barley, wheat, grains, and sorghum, and they cause genital disorders in domestic animals. Patulin is a type of mycotoxin which is derived from Penicillium patulum and was initially thought to be an antiviral drug which can relieve the symptoms of common cold, but subsequently realized that it is a mycotoxin. Okay, so it is produced by different modes, but was first isolated in antimicrobial active principle during the time of 1940s from Penicillium patulum. So many people thought that because penicillium was a source of antibiotics, penicillin, so that is why they thought that it can be having an antibiotic or an antiviral effect, but it was actually toxic to both plants and animals. So that is why it cannot be used as an antibiotic. So patulin was reclassified as a mycotoxin. Then this is actually mushroom poisoning. This is mycetismus, is a part of mycetismus. This is coprine poisoning. Okay. So different types of mushrooms like inky cap mushroom. So common ink cap or inky cap taken in the form of cream butter sauce. So along with alcohol intake causes an antabuse-like reaction. So within few minutes to 6 hours, it causes hot flush sensations, metallic taste, vomiting, etc. So recovery takes approximately 5 days after eating the mushrooms. So this is actually mycetismus. This is not mycotoxicosis. This is mycetismus because you are actually eating the mushrooms. Okay. So why mycotoxins are important? Because they can be used as a chemical warfare agent. There are significant evidence that Iraqi scientists have developed aflatoxins as a part of their bioweapons program during the 1980s, and they were a curious choice for chemical warfare because induction of liver cancer, because liver cancer will not occur suddenly, it will be occurring over a period of time. So unlike aflatoxins, trichotheceans can act immediately upon contact, and exposure to a few milligrams of T2, this trichothecene 2, is potentially lethal. Okay. So how to detect and screen mycotoxins? Because many steps are involved in the analysis, it is not uncommon that the analytical error can be also there. So that is why they have to do HPLC, and after that also sensitive methods, other sensitive methods like gas liquid chromatography, these are now available. So different methods are now available for detection, like ELISA, like radioimmunoassay, for spectrophotometry or tissue culture in different types of cells. So these type of things can be used for detection of mycotoxins. So how to treat? First thing is you have to give vigorous intravenous fluid replacement and correction of electrolyte disturbances and coagulopathy, and hemodialysis and hemoperfusion you have to give. Atropine is useful in mycetismus. Suppose mycetismus involves the peripheral nervous system or muscarine poisoning. So at that time you can give atropine, and corticosteroids may prove useful if the patient needs it. Okay. So how to treat? So now you have to prevent. So treatment we have already discussed. So clean procedures, so prevention of contamination of food items and inhibition of mold growth by putting them in dried places, putting food items in refrigerators, giving mold inhibitors, and it is much better to prevent formation of the mycotoxins. Okay, thank you so much. So only one thing is remaining is one, this is totally unrelated to the class, but still because this video I found interesting, so that is why I just want to play this video. So just you can see this. Okay. So can anyone of you just summarize what we discussed? Yes. Sindhu, roll number 10. Sindhu, can you just summarize? This is a very short class actually. It can come as a short note or it can be important for your PG entrance exams. So that is why a little bit we discussed about the mycotoxins. Yes, you can unmute and tell. Anyone? Sojanya, roll number 14. Ritik, roll number 45. Can you tell what we discussed? Just unmute yourself and tell whatever we discussed, whatever you remember, just so that I'll know that we have discussed something. Yes, nobody wants to say?